Parshas Nosoi Tovshin Pei Hey. Very short week. It was hard for everybody to believe that today is actually already Thursday. But, Shavuos was over Tuesday night here in Chutz La'aretz, and we just turned right around, and now it's Shabbos Kodesh tomorrow night. So, we know one thing for sure. We know that everybody that's listening to the shir this week, everybody that's here at the shir, is a different person than they were last week. Everyone had their Kabbalas HaTorah. They're coming here with a fresh desire to learn, to know, to hear Divrei Torah on the Parsha. And really, in this week's Parsha, between speaking about the different jobs that the Leviim had in the Mishkan, that's the beginning of the Parsha. In the end of the Parsha, we speak about the Nesiim and some other things in the middle of the Parsha. But stuck right in there is a very interesting thing. The Torah puts in Birkas Kahanim. Right here, right in the middle of our Parsha. And we know the last pasuk of Birkas Kahanim is Yisa Hashem Panov Elecha V'Yoseim Lecha Shalom. And it's something that's kedai to know that when a bracha ends with something, someone gives you a bracha, the last thing that they say, the final thing, tells us something special. It's trying to deliver a message. And in our case, that final thing, you have a beautiful bracha, right? Yivarechecha Hashem Yishmerecha, Yo'er Hashem Panov Elecha V'Yichuneka, and then the final pasuk, Yisa Hashem Panov Elecha V'Yoseim Lecha Shalom, Shalom being the final thing. And that must be telling us something from the fact that Shalom is the last thing. The Medrash in Bamidbar Rabbah Yud Aleph tells us that if you want to see or know the greatness of Shalom, you just have to look around a little bit. And I'm not talking about the specific what Shalom is, but if you look at Shalom, you see that every tefillah, every single tefillah of Shemon Esrei that we daven ends with what? It ends with Shalom. Every Birchas Kahanim, as we say, Birchas Kahanim also ends in Shalom. Famously also, we know the Mishnah in Pirkei Avos, Perek Aleph, Pirkei Avos that's coming up this Shabbos, very famous Mishnah, very important Mishnah, Hillel Omer, Hevei mi Talmidov shel Aaron. That every person should try to be a Talmud of Aaron HaKohen. Oyed Shalom, v'roidev Shalom. Person has to love Shalom, to seek after Shalom. Oyev esabrius mikarvon la Torah. Everyone Hevei mi Talmidov shel Aaron. And what does it mean to be a Talmud of Aaron? Oyev Shalom, v'roidev Shalom. There are also so many besides that, besides Tefillah, besides Birchas Kahanim, besides the Mishnah and Pirkei Avos. There are so many Mamorei Chazal that speak of the greatness of Shalom. We're going to have in a few weeks also Pinchas, Parshas Pinchas, right? Pinchas was getting a reward. What's the reward that Pinchas was given? Hineni noisein loy esprisi. You got it. Shalom. So the fact that Pinchas was given Shalom for doing something great means it was a great reward. The Torah is Shalom. As we know, Derechea darchei noyam v'chol Nesivos Shalom, especially for our shir, it's a very special thing, Nesivos Shalom. V'chol Nesivos Shalom. The Torah is called Shalom. One of Hashem's names is Shalom. So we could go on and on. The name of Mashiach is brought down. One of the names of Mashiach, the name of Mashiach is going to be Shalom also. Goes on and on and on. And all it's doing is building up the resume for Shalom. What is this Shalom? So the Sifri in our Parsha says that Shalom is so great that it's equal to the entire Masa Bereshis. Imagine. The Midah of Shalom having shalom. Shalom is so great that it's equal to the entire Maaseh Bereishis. As the Pasuk says, S.S.S.S. Shalom uvoirei es hakol. Shalom, Kadosh Baruch Hu does shalom, S.S.S.S. Shalom uvoirei es hakol. He created everything. On one hand, you have S.S.S.S. Shalom. On the other hand, you uvoirei es hakol. So Chazal tell us, the Sifri tells us, that they're equal. And there are many more Mamorei Chazal like this. So now that you know a little bit about Shalom, the Nesivos Shalom says that we see from these many Chazal about Shalom that Shalom is placed on a very high level. And if Shalom is so great, says the Nesivos Shalom, it definitely one thing, so now we have to know, what is this Shalom? I mean, everything, Torah, and Mashiach, and name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's equal to all of Maaseh Bereishis. What is this Shalom? So the Nesivos Shalom tells us for sure one thing we know it doesn't mean. It doesn't mean the absence of fighting. You know, sometimes you see, we like to refer to this, they talk about peace in the Middle East, right? I mean, to bring in a little bit current events today, though, I'm not sure, it used to be called the Middle East, now it's more like the Wild West, but the Middle East, the minute they're not fighting for 2 minutes, they say it's peace, right? The Nesivos Shalom says that definitely does not mean peace. If people are fighting the whole day and you break them up and they're not fighting right now, that is not peace. We say, S.S.S.S. Shalom b'mreimav, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu makes Shalom where? B'mreimav. He makes Shalom up there between the Malachim. Hashem makes Shalom between the Malachim Usrafim. So now, one thing we know for sure, that up there between the Malachim, there's definitely no such thing as, like we have over here, where people fight. There's no such thing as petty machloikis between Malachim. It just doesn't exist. There's no Yetzer Hara causing Malachim to fight. So what is this Shalom? S.S.S.S. Shalom b'mreimav. Hashem makes Shalom up there between the Malachim. What's going on? We have to promote Shalom for Malachim, with Srafim. They don't fight. They don't have a Yetzer Hara like we do for kavod and things and all the silly things that people fight about. So we must say that Shalom is definitely, certainly more than peace from war and machlokes. Because if that's what it meant, then it would be strange that we're speaking about Shalom amongst the Malachim. Says in Nesivos Shalom, Shalom is something proactive. It's more than just not fighting. And Nesivos Shalom explains with the Yisoid from the Kozhnitz Magid, Chusay Yogan Aleinu, in his Sefer Avodas Yisrael on Parshas Noach. And he says a beautiful thing, the Kozhnitz Magid. He said there's a very, very powerful meaning when we say that the entire world, we said the entire world is based on Shalom. It's equal to the creation of the entire world. So the Kozhnitz Magid says that Hashem created the world with conflicting forces. Think about it for a moment. There's summer and there's winter, right? There's hot in the world and there's cold. There's day and there's night, and they're polar opposites. They're diametrically opposed to each other. When it's one, it really can't, right? The other one is not there. And even among the creations of Hashem, there are many, many conflicting things. And it's only because HaKadosh Baruch Hu made Midas HaShalom that things find a way to work, right? We don't find that the day fights with the night, and we don't find that the summer and the winter fight. They gradually, summer goes out and winter comes in, winter goes out, summer comes in. Hashem created something called Shalom, peace and harmony, and they find a way to work. And Shalom does not just stop things from destroying each other, because you might think Hashem made Shalom, so the things that are opposed to each other are not going to destroy each other. No, it's more than that. Not only that, but they complement and they complete each other. Because let's say in our climate, if it would be summer, hot all the time, you have to read Rabbi Victor Miller who speaks about this all the time, right? If it would be hot all the time in our climate, we wouldn't have the delicious and beautiful fruit and other things. We need a winter, we need the ground to freeze, right? And the same thing is with day and night. Imagine if it would be daytime all the time, it would be nighttime all the time. It wouldn't be. So they complement and they complete each other. So it says in Nesivos Shalom a beautiful thought, and this is what we have to walk away with about this lesson of Shalom. When Klal Yisrael act with Shalom, and they perpetuate Shalom, where everybody's getting along with each other, and we all know when there's Shalom, I'm not even speaking about the fighting that goes on, that's stam craziness, that I'm not even speaking about. But Shalom, where people respect each other, people compliment each other, that when there is Shalom amongst Klal Yisrael, see, the Shalom says we're actually keeping the world going. It's not stam that we're at peace and we're not fighting. We're keeping the world going, and that actually trickles down to everyone and to everything in this world. Every one of us really needs to understand, what does it mean? Hevei talmidov shel Aaron. Hevei talmidov shel Aaron doesn't just mean to read it in the Pirkei Avos. Doesn't just mean to say, okay, I'll sign up as a Talmud of Aaron. It means to learn from Aaron that the entire universe exists on Shalom. Not just pshat that we have to try and we have to do. S.S.S.S. Shalom uvareis hakol. Kadosh Baruch Hu made the whole world, and then he made Shalom. Shalom is equal to the whole world. It means that the world exists on Shalom. Shalom is what keeps things going. You know, very practically, we all know how much more a person can accomplish. How much more of a person you feel when you're not involved in machlokes and you're not involved in petty things most of the time, or almost all the time. When there's any sort of disagreement or machlokes, we know it boils down to our kavod and our pride, and sometimes you just can't let go. So what the Torah is telling us when we end off Birchas Kahanim, before we start the Nesiim, before we go into all the Shvatim, and I was actually just thinking of this, doesn't say this in the Nesivos Shalom, but when we say when we have all the Nesiim in our Parsha, it says the same Parsha over and over, and many speak about, just shows how each one, individuality of each one, but there's one thing that has to be. What has to be is that even though each Shevet did their own thing, even though each Shevet had their unique characteristics and their unique people and unique accomplishments, but the word before the Nesiim and the Torah is Shalom. You could be you, and I could be myself, and you could be the way you are, and I could be the way I am, and every person here could be something different, and yet we're different, but we respect each other. It's not that one is right and one is wrong. You have your way, and he has his way. Every person, every group, one group and faction of people fight with another person. What are you doing? What are you doing? Mashiach is not going to come until we rectify this, until we understand that Shalom is the most important thing. The one thing the Yetzer Hara wants. He allows everyone to learn Torah today. There's more Torah in the world than ever in history. There's more chesed in the world probably today than ever in history. And we're living in unbelievable times. Imagine, there was never so much Torah being learned by so many Yidden on such a high level, and unbelievable. Torah, chesed, everything, it's all there. But we're still sitting here. What are we doing in Lakewood, New Jersey? What are we doing in Gullus? Because we haven't figured out that there's still sinas chinam. There's still the absence of Shalom. Let's learn this lesson. The lesson of the last word in Tefillah, the last word in Birkas Kahanim, the word to be a Talmud. You want to sign up in a yeshiva, sign up to be a Talmud of Aaron HaKohen. Sign up for that midah of Shalom, and it's going to bring, Yemir Hashem, wonderful brachos to all of Klal Yisrael.